Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Melody Rodriguez. She has just shared her all new single titled Warrior, and I am super excited to talk to her all about it. Melody, thank you so much for coming on today. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
You're super welcome. What's going on in your side of the world?
Well, I'm doing a couple of different projects right now. I have an independent band project called Mi Gente Live, which is like a Latin icons tribute show. And yeah, I'm getting ready to launch Warrior, which is my newest single. I haven't released something in a minute. It's featuring Deverano, and I love it. I think it's gonna be really awesome to share.
I think you're right too, and I'm really excited to talk to you all about it. So let's kind of kick things off by talking about the lyrics and really just what it's all about and what it means to you.
Sure. So the story of Warrior started actually, it's really autobiographical.
Okay.
It's from the top, it sets the tone. I'm like, I woke up kind of shook up and I put on my makeup to sing along with me. Uh, because I had somebody who said I couldn't do something. I had shown my music to someone, I remember, and it was at the time a whole EP of songs, a
Okay.
different project. And this person said, Melody, can I be honest with you? I actually think this is not your greatest work. And in so many words. And
Of course.
and like while it's also like great to have people who are going to give you a critique, you can also tell when it's coming from like this sort of bitter, nasty place.
Okay.
And Warrior kind of started off like a clap back to that. Then Warrior kind of developed into all these sorts of interwoven stories about self-doubt. And I think a lot of artists can relate to, oh, am I enough? Is my art good enough? Should I be putting this
Always.
out? And it's sort of like conquering that anxiety brain, conquering yourself, really. Because the other people, those aren't your voices. It's really just being able to be, okay, I'm going to shut this out and I'm going to follow through with the thing that I want to follow through.
Right.
There's also something in there lyrically where it's like, if you're creeping on my media, well, I got one thing to say to you, you're a fan or you're just a clown. Like, which one is it?
It's true. It's
you
true.
know,
I mean, listen, there's never anything wrong with constructive criticism. I think we
100%,
all need those people in our lives that are going to tell it to us straight. Obviously in a
100.
nice way, just not
Mm-hmm.
like, you suck or this isn't good or anything like that.
Of
But
course.
I don't know the difference between being surrounded by yes people and actual constructive people is a serious thing. And I think in your case, maybe it went a little overboard, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, because I mean, look, I've had some awesome mentors that have been really hard on me,
Sure.
and they've made me an incredible vocalist, a better dancer. Like I have, without mentioning names, like a memory of one of my dance teachers, because I also went to a conservatory for musical theater.
Mhm.
And yeah, him just flat out being like, all right, Melody, like everything is great here, but it's a little, honestly, it's a kind of basic. Like, can you come here dressed up with like, I want to see you in a leotard that pops, like a color that pops. I was like, all right, like I'll take it. Like, this is a dude that, knows what he's talking about. But I know there's an energy I feel though. You feel when someone's being a hater,
Yeah.
and then you feel when someone is being like, okay, I'm going to tell you to the straight, but this is going to help you, because I don't want somebody like, sugarcoating it,
No.
sort of like fluffing up my ego type of situation. But I also don't like people who are just negative to be negative. And I think that's, the big thing with Warrior, and that message of like, yeah, like, you're conquering the hater, so to speak. You're conquering yourself more than anything else, because that other stuff is just sort of like white noise.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, I think there's a fine line
I
between those
agree.
things.
I agree.
Hmm.
It's up to those people to find that line.
Yeah.
I do also want to talk about like the production and the process of the song. You mentioned that there was a feature on it. I want to know how that came about and really just like the entire sort of behind the scenes on start to finish.
Awesome. So, like I said, it started off sort of. triggered by a conversation that then led me to going onto the piano, and I just started flunking the chords on the piano and just singing the melody. And then I got my friend Danny, aka Deverano, to sing on it. Now him and I go way back because we, used to do like sort of like professional shows together for like events and stuff. Different kind of vibe. And I love Danny, like not to talk him up or whatever, but for me, he's, I always tell him like, Danny, you're the new Timbaland. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Hey, that's
Just
a big
like,
compliment.
it's a big compliment. I trust him, and I felt like we would really make sense together. Bringing this collab together, and he has his home studio, so we went over there. We recorded it, and the rest is history. It was very organic. I also never been in a situation where, we did the scratch vocal, and those choruses are from the scratch vocal. And I remember being so resistant as a vocalist, like, oh no, like I gotta go back in. Let me go back in. And Danny's like, no, like I think this is actually good, because we tried going back in. He's like, I don't know, like there was just a different energy and grit that you were doing it originally that I feel like now it's a little too clean. Right. He's like, let's just leave it how it is, like that, with that raw emotion. So that was kind of the process of that. And, Warrior has been written for a while, and I think there was this sort of like resistance to bring it out into the world. And I feel like it's the perfect time to do so, even with everything that's been going on in the world. And, I just feel like it's been taken on a different life now.
I totally agree what you're saying. And I want to talk a little bit more about the production side of things. I think that you're in this really interesting position where, so you're making music as yourself. You're making music as a solo artist, but you have a producer on the other hand of things. Do you find it more beneficial to sort of bounce ideas off of someone as opposed to just attempting to do it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, even the best artists, you need somebody. I mean, Mariah Carey, she had baby face, even though she's Mariah Carey. And Homegirl could write, what I'm saying? I think it just works better with a collaborative. I do believe there are prodigies out there who are rare, and even those people have somebody who's mixing, mastering, whatever their expertise is to like bring it to life. So I don't know. I think it's cool, as a songwriter, you write something, and then you just see where it takes you, what life the song takes with another person.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Think I'm losing you.
Oh, you're a little frozen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Okay, so, obviously I want to keep the focus on Warrior, but I also want to talk a little bit about the future here. You mentioned that this is your first, single in a little bit. So my hope here is that more is in the works, or you're the type of person that is always creating and like demoing new things, or even writing down lyrics for something in the future.
Oh yeah. So I also sing in Spanish.
Nice.
And I speak Spanish fluently.
Jealous.
I'm Puerto Rican Chilean situation. And like I want to kind of bring that to the forefront as well. I'm actually working on a whole EP right now.
Hey,
and I have some songs, just they've been kind of marinating and stuff, and I'm gonna launch them next year. Right now the working title for the EP is Sin Miedo, and it means without fear. And I'm gonna be talking about a lot of different stuff. I mean, I've been writing about stuff that I've never written about before, such as anxiety, for example. Never done that. I think that I've been in so many different scenarios. I mean, we could really sit down here and talk about so many scenarios and situations, major labels, small labels, everything in between. And, the MO as a production company is to produce, sort of like Pepsi, whatever. Yep. Don't mean to say a name. Maybe I'll get a blurb it. But like,
that's fine. Let's get those Pepsi sponsorships. Are you kidding me?
Pepsi. I should have said Starbucks. I should have said
Yeah, that
Starbucks.
too. Yeah, where do you spend
Um,
your money? Exactly.
but like, yeah, like they're more concerned with the product
For
and like,
sure.
you know, commercial, and again, pros and cons to that. But sometimes you sort of get lost in, oh, like, is this going to be heard? Is this going to be accepted? Are people going to like it? Versus, okay, let's not even think about that. They may love it because there's always an audience who's going to hate it no matter what,
Yes.
or they're going to love it. So just be you.
I always
And that's,
say, not to
yeah,
interrupt, but if you're going to spend the time and energy making something, the first person that has to like it is you. You should always be
100%.
making music for yourself. Obviously, in the age of social media and you post things that people listen, the feedback has never been more instant. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you got to have something that you enjoy. And I think that
Right.
you seem like a person that is very true to themselves and is not going to manufacture a sound in order to please others.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
That's the feeling that I'm getting. And I mean, it's got me excited for the EP. We can keep talking about it, or we cannot. We can wait till the future, but I will say that
Yeah.
I'm excited.
No, thank you
Um,
so much.
I do want to know, though, maybe not even necessarily on this EP, but Warrior in general. You've mentioned a lot of your inspirations already just talking right now. Are you sort of like channeling someone or channeling a group of people as you make your own music?
You mean channeling inspiration from
Yeah,
artists?
yeah.
So, in a nutshell, I would say Mariah, if she sang Sia songs, I think is kind of the vibe. I love me some
Yeah,
Pink,
sure.
as a vocalist. I think I draw from different people, obviously, as a
Yeah,
vocalist. I would say Mariah, Pink. I love me some JoJo.
of course.
Um, yeah, and I like the more eclectic stuff. I mean, I'm into Lana Del Rey like
Mhm.
nobody's business.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a melding of a lot of different things.
nice.
Um, I think inspiration for production and other stuff for Warrior. I don't know. I feel like there's a part of it that is very reminiscent of like Mariah, but more electronic somehow.
I get that. Well, okay, so was there someone or something that sort of pushed you over the edge to start making music in the first place?
Let me see. Like from Jump or let's
I don't
see.
know. I mean, there's a difference. Like, there's a difference between like being 8 years old and singing in the shower or in the car, rather
Yeah.
than like being a little bit older and being like, yeah, I could do this. Like, I could write, record, and put out a real song.
Um, let's see here. From a positive perspective, I would say, there was definitely some validation in, okay, like I'm a performer who's been sustaining herself for the last, over a decade. I'm singing in New York City,
Yeah.
at these nice places, blah, 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 blah. Okay, sure, I'm in a long black dress, but we make it work. And there was that validation. And like, at one point, the band had opened up for Earth, Wind, and Fire, Gloria Gaynor,
Damn.
all this stuff. So I was like, okay, so there's a little bit, your girl knows some things,
Yeah.
And then, just throughout life, I mean, what really pushed me, just love for music, honestly. But for this single, I wanted, there was a part of it like, okay, like I want to prove to y'all that I can actually do this.
Totally.
And I guess y'all falls onto a big umbrella. If the shoe
Sure.
fits, honey, I don't know if the shoe
Hey.
fits. But I think that I kind of want to, I imagine sort of like this core extension cord that's been plugged into me with all the static.
I
And I
love that.
feel like with this situation, I'm just going and like cutting this cord and all this white noise of like, oh, you can't do it. You're not this enough. You're not that enough, blah, 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 blah. And just being like, you know what? Here's a clap back. I'm going to put this out into the world. I'm going to just be my most authentic self. The song is what it is. I'm just going to put it out there and let the chips fall where they may. And I'm just going to be myself.
That's all you can
So
really do.
yeah,
Like I said, and I'm going to keep saying it, as long as you're enjoying it, as long as you're enjoying the process of making it, I think
yeah,
that passion and emotion comes through in the song. And people can tell when there's a lot of BS rolling around in the song and the stories aren't true and it doesn't feel inspired by anything. And I think that
yeah,
that's kind of what you've captured. And
yeah.
now that you've really gotten to this point where you've written a song, you've taken it from inside your head into, like a physical being. Is there something about from start to finish, any part of the process that you enjoy the most or that you look forward to the most?
Putting it out myself.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that process of, okay, like I'm going to, be the person who focuses on whatever, even down to like the cover art or whatever it is, like
Hmm.
being the point person. Like I said, it's helpful to have people behind you. Um, but I think that the process of saying, okay, like I'm going to kind of take the reins on this project, I felt like oftentimes I was always sort of like in a sort of like subsidiary position, or where maybe my voice was not being heard, or whatever the case might be. And again, like I said, there's a positive into that spectrum, but there's
Hmm.
absolutely a very negative into that spectrum, which I feel like that's more or less where I was living. And yeah, I think just taking the lead is the thing that makes me most happy about this. No matter what happens, I am happy that I did that.
I like that. So, now that the song at this point, by the time this comes out, will be out, I want to know if you had to like put a label on what genre or what style the music is, what would you call it for those that are going to listen? Because it's so tough these days because people make
Yeah.
music and it's like 10 different things wrapped up in one. But I want to hear your take on
um, pop music if R&B made out with synths.
it.
I don't know.
That's
This is
awesome.
like straight from my
Yeah,
brain. I don't
totally. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's exactly what I was going to say.
know.
I love
R&B synth.
that.
Synth. That's what happened. Sorry.
Totally. If synths aren't part of it, then what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So I love that.
Sorry.
All right. In a perfect world, what is the next year of your life looking like?
In a perfect world.
Take me through all 365 days, day by day. I'm just kidding.
Well, a hit single would be great.
Yes,
Um, and I don't know, maybe even a Broadway debut would be great.
that would be nice. Yeah, I was gonna say,
Mhm.
I feel like making music or at least music under your name is not the only thing you're doing. So what else are
Yeah.
you doing?
So I'm also an actress and I'm a writer.
Hmm.
Um, a few years ago, again, like I was taking the reins on something, and it was something I was completely, like, honestly, zero experience doing on a professional level. And I was kind of like, okay, we're doing this. I wrote and directed a show that went
Oh wow,
off Broadway, and it was made possible by a Kickstarter campaign. It's called Through the Ren,
nice.
and it was an immersive show on the Lower East Side in Manhattan. And we had a completely sold out run. It was a preview run,
Sure.
and I was like shook with
What's
myself.
going
And
on here? I did
I
it.
even remember at the time, funny enough, speaking out Warrior and Doubters and like the
Mhm.
doubting brain and other people with their noise. Like I had people at the time like, yo, Melody, honestly, you're trying to do a Kickstarter campaign. You're not going to get that money. $10,000 in 30 days, girl, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen because nobody knows you. So who's gonna
Yeah,
back
but
that? And
no
like
one knows
honestly, like
anyone when Kickstarters go up. The
right,
stupidest things get funded on Kickstarter.
right. So I don't know. That was really fun, and even though I am an actress as well, I would say, versus my peers is not exactly the same, like sort of cookie cutter. Like I
Sure.
started off as a recording artist. I was in the studio since I was, 13.
Hmm.
So I've been working professionally and like, doing that sort of thing. Then I went to school for it later on in life and found some love for like musical theater and theater in general. So yeah, I'm putting myself out there to see, what happens and like what doors open. But I feel like I want to still make my mark in music. I feel like that is something that needs to 100% happen.
Well, I confidently think that this is going to do that. It's
Thank
just
you.
all about getting ears on the situation.
That's right.
All right, Melody, I have one more question for you at this point, and
Yeah,
it's really how I like to wrap things up with everyone.
sure.
Question here is for those that are going to discover you from this, and for those that are going to listen to your music for the first time, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
I'm like you. Um, we all have things that we fear and we all have our best days. And I hope that my music, can be a great journey for you and that you enjoy it. And that you can find your inner power uh, through my music.
I think that's a great answer. Melody, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and kind of breaking everything down. It has been
Thank
a
you.
treat getting to talk to you.
Thank you so
And
much.
I want to let everyone know again, by the time this comes out, Warrior will be out. Give it a listen, give it all the streams, share it around, follow Melody Rodriguez. She's awesome. If you ever come to LA, let me know. If you're playing a show or something, I'd love to see you in person.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you
Well,
guys can follow me on Instagram at just the melody. Thank you so much, guys.
great handle name, I must say. All right.
We do some
Yeah,
things.
that's pretty
All right.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care and have a great rest of your day. We'll talk soon.
Awesome sauce.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.